Good morning, friends. This is Abdul Ghafoor, and welcome to the Teaching and Learning. I hope that you are doing well and you are safe. You are taking care of your family. You are taking care of your kids. You are taking care of the elders. You are taking care of the neighbors. Okay, and my wish is to stay safe and stay healthy. This is a pandemic situation. We are stuck, but alhamdulillah, we are almost to get out from this situation. So, guys, today our lesson is about the pedagogy, and integration of the technology. We know that technology allows us to think differently, and it allows to perform a new task. But the question is that if we have a technology, then why we have to think, why we have to teach, why we have to react, why we have to act like 20 years ago? This question is still as important, that are we using the technology in our classroom cohesively? Does it has impact in the students' learning? Do the teachers are really enjoying by using technology or not? Is it had a completely integration into your curriculum or not? These are the questions really matters, and definitely these questions are impacting on the students' learning. If we are completely complying the integration of the technology, definitely your students are enjoying your classroom environment. Yes, I'm talking about the SAMR model integrations. Okay, so let's see what the SAMR model says, okay, and how he integrated the technology, and what is the connection of this technology and the SAMR model into the Bloom's taxonomy. Do they have any levels? Do have they have any significant changes? And if yes, then what are these things? But before that, it's a humble request. Subscribe the Teaching and Learning. Thank you so much. So let's see what is SAMR model and how he complied. You can see, guys, here the SAMR model lesson 53 pedagogy. First, who was a SAMR? Dr. Rubin, the one who given the SAMR model when he was studying in his university time. He was founder and president of Hypothesis. You can visit. I will be sharing the link, as well as consulting firm based in Western Massachusetts, focusing on a transformative application of information technology in education. Transformative application of information technology to education. What are the applications that we use into the education? Simply, we use the Word format. We use the Google Docs. We have the Microsoft. We have another platforms, okay, for e-learning. We have e-books. We have videos. We have many things we have in the technology integrations. Okay. If we have these devices, laptop, and all these things, we can integrate it cohesively and design an ideal curriculum for the students, which really affect on the teaching and learning. So he gave a SAMR model. Let's see what was the SAMR model. You can see here on the screen. SAMR model, SAMR. S stands for substitution, A stands for augmentation, M stands for modification, and R stands for redefinition. He divided this model into two components. One is the high order thinking, which is the modification and redefinition. Another one is the low order thinking, substitutions and augmentations. He met a threshold between. The substitution and augmentation enhance the learning. However, the modification and redefinition transforms the learning. Think about it. The transformation learning. Do your students are transforming their learning or not? This is the question mark. If you are applying the technology into the classroom, then there must be a transformation of the technology. That the technology plays a very important role, that makes sure that your students are using technology and it's embedded into your lesson plan. So let's see how this model works. What he said, that the SAMR model is the integration of the curriculum, which has the threshold between a substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinitions. The one part which is lower is enhancing the learning, another part which is transforming the learning. Now, how it works, let's see first the substitution. Take a task of, your classroom, any task, okay? I'll tell you that in substitution, what change is going to be. There's no change. There's no functional change in the substitution. If you're writing, if you are writing a book, if you're writing a story, if you're writing anything through your handwriting, okay, you are going to convert into the technology, right? We are going to use the technology. So in this part of that, we are going to use the technology as a substitute with no functional change. Now, suppose essay writing, you have typed into the Word format. Same essay writing, you have just typed. Second thing, book, you have the book handwritten, your handwritten book, but you have to change it into ebook. Second thing, an article, you wrote it through your handwriting, but you had changed it into the formatting. So you are substituting your task into the technology. Your substitution task, which is handwritten, you are going to convert into the Word format. So before you have a traditional way. However, the later on, while you are using the technology or integrating the technology, you are changing, you are converting your handwritten task into the technology. So it's simply from hard copy to soft copy, right? Let's see. You wrote an essay, you wrote a story, okay, about one bad thing, okay, and corrupt another thing. You have changed this handwritten into your Word format. This is you substitute. There's no functional change. This is the first substitute, right? Let's see the second one, augmentation. Now, augmentation is the functional change. If you're going to see here to the back, augmentation. Augmentation here, you can see a direct tool substitute, but with some functional change. Now, you wrote the same story in the Word format. Now, what functional change can be? You can change the font size, right? Letter size, maybe put some colors, maybe format. These are some the functional changes. So in Word format, you will be using tools, but the task will remain same. Whatever you substitute, okay, you wrote in the Word format. After in augmentation, you are changing the styles. You are grammar, spelling, and all these things. This is called augmentation. You can see here that you wrote a story where you're going to check the spelling, grammar, language, and caps lock, all these things by using the tools. This is the augmentation. Second is modification. The same task, take a same task of that, but how you going to modify it? Take this task, okay, and modify it, okay, into the Google form or Google Docs. You have the same story, right? Okay, but what you have to do at the real time, you have shared this story or emailed this story to your email with your friends, right? At the real time, you provided the feedback. You wrote the same story through Google Docs, okay? You have shared with your colleagues, you have shared with your students, okay, and give them a feedback. Or your students shared with you and you have give them a feedback in the real time. So what will it? The story will remain same, but what is the change? It's a collaboration, your feedback. That's called the modification. Now, the most important part, that, which is the higher order thinking, okay, is redefinition. Now, in this redefinition, you have a story, but what other things you can do it? You can dramatize. You can record that video on a story. You can make scenes on stories. You can, what we call, filmize that one. You can write a dialogues on the story. You can share that story in the YouTube, okay? The people can get the comments on it, give the feedback on it. You can create your own reflection on it. So, and story writing, but in the redefinition, you are creating something. You are creating videos, you are creating what we call scenes. You are writing on it, you are choosing themes, you are choosing backgrounds, you are choosing the locations, you are choosing sharing the people, you have a feedback, you have a collaboration on all these things. So in redefinitions, you are creating something, a new task, but a story is the same story. So it's something which has been transformed. The story which was substituted the traditional way, handwritten, but in redefinitions, what you have done, you have changed through the technology. You recorded the video, you make a themes, you are done. So what we have now, you can see a traditional story, old story has been changed, the Hollywood's, what we call blockbusters movies, and how they, through the integration of the technology. So the same story, which is written in the traditional way, but what they have changed by integration of the technology, they boosted up characters, background, scenes, locations, dialogues, collaborations, feedbacks, and people started like, okay, we started watching cinemas and all these things. This is called the redefinitions of that, a traditional story. And how it became possible, through the technologies. So this is the SAMR's model, that how SAMR's model works. He said substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. Now in redefinitions, we covered the 21st century skills. It focused the 21st century because it has been transformed. You have a created, it's a critical thinking, then you start collaborations and communications with other people. So the SAMR models also focusing on the 21st century skills and 4 C's, through creating, through redefinitions. Now we'll talk about the Bloom's taxonomy. As I have mentioned that it has a similarities in the Bloom's taxonomy. It works similar like the Bloom's taxonomy from low order to high order thinking. What Bloom's taxonomy offers from remember, understanding, which are the low order thinking. However, the apply is a low as well as high order thinking. However, analyzing, evaluating, and creating, these are the high order thinking. However, the SAMR model, he threshold between augmentation and the modification. He said that substitution, augmentations, these are the low order thinking levels, similar like the Bloom's taxonomy, remember and understanding, but I'll consider apply as well as some part of them. However, the modification and redefinitions are transforming or creating, or these are the high order thinking, like analyze, evaluating, and creating. So guys, this is the really useful. If you are using the technology into the classroom, make sure that you are complying the SAMR's model, and how you are complying and what are the components you are focusing. Sometimes we know what we do, but we don't know what exactly it is. So identify what are the things you are similarly applying and how your students are creating and redefining, which is the high order thinking, and what is the similarities between the Bloom's taxonomy's action verbs and the SAMR's layer model or the SAMR model. This one. So this was the Dr. Rubin's the idea. He realized that there should be a technological integration because we live in the 21st century, and the 21st century needs these technological extensions. So try to embed, try to integrate your curriculum with the heavily use of the technology. Try to conduct PD and encourage the teachers and the students that instead of using the traditional method of the teaching, they should use these technology or these tools and devices that they can boost or impact on the students' reflection and the learning. I hope that this useful lesson will be useful, and it will help you in attempting the pedagogy questions as well as to impact on the students' learning. Thank you so much for you. We'll be meeting in the next lesson. Stay blessed and stay safe.